It's a great morning to be on the campus of Northeastern State University in Tahlequah, Oklahoma. Today we're truly excited to launch yet another Battenfield-Carletti Entrepreneur Lecture, and to ensure that our speaker is not distracted during her presentation, we would ask that you turn off or silence your electronic devices, PDAs, cell phones, etc. That way there will be no distraction during the presentation. And if we find out that something really earth-shattering has occurred, we'll announce it so that you won't be left out of the loop of having immediate information. At this time, I would like to call on the Dean of the College of Business and Technology, Dr. John Schleed, who will introduce our speaker.
Thank you, Dr. Ferris. Well, welcome to the Battenfield-Carletti Lecture. This is a very special lecture this year. This semester marks the end of the 10th year of Battenfield-Carletti lectures. So it's a very exciting time. It began in spring 2002. And that program, the Battenfield-Carletti Lectures, was founded by Dr. Harold Battenfield and Dr. John Carletti. And Dr. Harold Battenfield is here, and I'd like to recognize he and his wife, Mary, both of whom have been very active at the university on the alumni and foundation boards as part of the alumni group, the Nifty 50s, and a big supporter of entrepreneurship at NSU. In the early days, Dr. Battenfield and Dr. Carletti recruited the speakers and escorted them and did just about everything but wash the dishes afterwards. But today, we've been able to do some of that for them. Our speaker today is Danielle Coursey, and she truly is a fitting speaker to recognize the end of the 10th anniversary, because the whole point of this is to recognize those graduates from NSU who have gone on to be successful entrepreneurs. And Danielle is a double graduate of NSU, earning her bachelor's degree in business in 1986 and her MBA in 1998. Danielle worked actually for the Oklahoma Small Business Development Center at NSU. For those of you who are unaware, Northeastern State has the largest center of the Oklahoma Small Business Development Center. And Danielle ran the office here in Tahlequah. Part of her job was to give advice to people who were trying to start their own business. And Danielle took her own advice and began her own business back in 1999. It was interesting, when we went to visit her, she said, you know, my business ended up being something I'd never expected it to be. I started in one line and all of a sudden found in another. And she'll tell you the story, but that illustrates just what it takes to be successful as an entrepreneur. It's just not about business knowledge, but it's about being adaptable, understanding the market, being flexible, and taking advantage of market opportunities. We are so proud to present an NSU graduate and a successful entrepreneur and businesswoman, Danielle Coursey.
Hello. Can everybody hear me? Good. I'm Danielle Coursey, and I am the operating partner of Backwoods Food Manufacturing here in Tahlequah. It's kind of an under-the-radar business. A lot of people haven't even heard of it, but we are out there, and we put out a heck of a lot of product. What Backwoods Food Manufacturing does is we manufacture products for other companies. At this point, we manufacture products for about 42 different companies. So you see their labels on it. You may even have some of the products in your own refrigerator. You just don't know that we make it. Our name's not on it. It's under their label. That's called either contract packaging or private labeling. The difference is in contract packaging, we are using their recipe. in private labeling, they're using our recipe. So it's kind of a mixed marriage. You know, we try and put as much of our recipe out there as possible because it really builds customer loyalty. You know, they can't really go elsewhere to another company to get that same product and put their label on it. I brought a very small representative sample here of different types of products we make. But one of the biggest questions that we have is, do we really make this, or do we buy it in and resell it? We make it. We make it from scratch. Every tomato product, every spice, every ingredient, everything that goes in there, we make from scratch. And we bottle it for them, put their label on it, and by the time they get it, it's in a sealed case, ready to open and put on the shelf in the store. Like he said, this business is nothing that we had ever really expected it to be. As a matter of fact, if you would have told me 15 years ago that we would be manufacturing and selling food products for a living, I would have argued with you, because that was never anything that we had anticipated. It wasn't a dream of ours. It just never registered on our radar. Basically, how the story goes is we started off as a gift basket company, very small gift basket company. A friend and I and my husband, we decided, you know, mortgage, 4 kids at home. I was paying out of pocket for my MBA. We were kind of broke one Christmas, and this was in 1997, so we decided to kind of pool our money, buy the kids Christmas presents, and for friends and relatives, mom and dad, sister-in-law, things like that, we decided to kind of put together a little gift basket with some home canned products that I had canned that summer out of my husband's garden. And I had canned things like salsa, I had canned, you know, hot peppers, pickles, just, you know, whatever he brought in, I canned it. I decorated the baskets, we gave them as gifts. Everybody loved it. We had put a little mock label on it, and this was something that I had done before my friend came into it. And everybody liked it. My friend was a recipient of one of these such baskets. The following year in 1998, she and I kind of got together and we decided, hey, let's try and sell some of these baskets. Now, keep in mind, we were working full-time jobs, professional level, you know, still had our lives. We didn't intend on ending any of that. We just thought we would, you know, buy a few gift baskets, sell them, and cash out. So we bought about 250 empty baskets, and we canned that year, enough to fill it. After we sold in arts and crafts shows, state fairs, things like that. Just lots of people bought it. And we did put our name and address on the basket. And we started getting calls from people that had bought a basket saying, well, where can we get more of this product? We really like the product. Where can we buy it? Well, that was really nothing that we had anticipated either. Like I said, we didn't put much thought into this at all as a business. So we contacted some people. We started researching the project. We found that we were making the product illegally. You cannot make food products in your home in the state of Oklahoma and sell it to the end consumer. It can be on your property, but it has to be detached from your home. So the following year, in 1999, we incorporated and started, you know, kind of putting more thought into it. We contacted an organization regarding labeling. FDA has a label book like this thick. It dictates everything from the size of the font, the placement of the information on the label, how much percentage is dedicated to the facing or the part that you see from the shelf when you're looking in the store. everything. So we picked through that. We redesigned our labels. There has been a huge learning curve for us on all of this stuff. So we legalized our business. We started doing it a little bit more seriously. We needed a place to make product. What we did to start was we found a licensed kitchen at the community building here in Tahlequah, and we rented it at night for $15 a night. We'd go in about 5:30, we'd stay till 1 or 2 in the morning, come out with a little bit of product in our back seat. We'd have to haul everything in, everything out. But, you know, we were doing this around our jobs. We were just kind of playing at it, and we decided that year that we might have something here. And what our something was the product that we were selling. We wanted to get that product out into market under our name. Our gift basket company was called Backwoods Baskets, and we established Backwoods Best as the product line that went into the baskets. And that Backwoods Best was what we wanted to get out there in the marketplace. So we took out a second mortgage. We built a little 30 by 30 building, you know, about 1,100 square feet, in a little bit of kitchen, a little bit more warehouse, bought a kettle, you know, bought all the utensils, sinks, everything that we needed in there. And we thought, well, this will make it easier for us because we're still working our jobs. We've still got the kids at home. This way we don't have to go out, you know, stay all night at the community building and then come back. So we started that. Just a little bit here, a little bit there, mainly in time for show season. At a show, we were at a, we were at a show where we ran into a person that sold salsa. We don't make it anymore, but the name of the company was Fester's Famous Salsa. And he learned that we had built our own little building. And at that point, he was an Oklahoma City-based company, and he was renting a deli at night and going in and making product in the deli, coming out, kind of the same thing we were doing at the community building. He contacted us regarding making his product. He said, you know, it would really benefit me a lot if you would make product for me. It was kind of a torn situation. I wasn't really sure if I really wanted to do that. He was a competitor. He was right across the aisle from us in these shows that we're doing. Do I really want to help a competitor out? And I got to thinking about it. We stewed about it. And we decided if there's going to be somebody else out there selling salsa or anything that, you know, similar to ours, anybody in that building, if we can make a dime off of every case they sell, then, you know, it's actually better for us. So we've got 2 people out there selling products for us. Basically him and his label, we're making everything, you know, that he sells, so we're making money on it. And then us and our label. So that's kind of what got us into contract packaging. That was our first contract packaging situation. We had a little bit of contract packaging come in. You know, year after year, you know, we may get contacted by 1 or 2 other people, to the point where we were making for about 5 different companies. Very small amounts. It had to be something that we could do nights and weekends, you know, when we were off of our job. Just kind of an extra way to help pay for that second mortgage there. In about 2001, one of the companies we were making bottling meat seasonings for, just regular meat seasonings that you sprinkle on your foods. They had about 33 different products in their line. And they owned their own manufacturing facility where they bottled all of the products that they sold, with the exception of their meat seasonings and their jelly. And those they subcontracted out to us. So, you know, we contract package those for them. Well, they contacted us and they said, are you really happy trying to get your product out to market? We kind of said, you know what, we're kind of getting tired. Hauling all of our product, making product at night, hauling it all in there to the shows, selling, long hours, 12-hour days, coming back out. And that pretty much took every weekend that we had. We were getting tired. And we told him that, he said, do you like making it? I said, yeah, I like making it, fine, but we can't keep doing this, night after. We were thinking of quitting. There was so many times in there that we thought of quitting. It just did not seem to be worth it. We just kept plugging along. So he offered us a contract to make all of his product. And he said, okay, this will be a 6-figure deal. You've got to build a bigger plant. You've got to go full-time. You've got to have a staff. You've got to be able to put that product out when we need it. We thought about it, and given my experience from the Oklahoma Small Business Development Center, not only my bachelor's degree, my MBA, and then my business advice that I had been giving for years, I decided to put some of that to work. So we really researched it. I looked at his numbers, and we really thought, we could do this. So in 2002, we finally found financing. Now that was a deal. All these lenders that I worked with on a daily basis, helping other people find financing for their business, none of them really wanted to finance me. I had an awesome credit history. I knew them. They knew, but it was a new business. There was no track record for this business. They had not even heard of this type of business. So we kept plugging along looking for financing. Fortunately, being a SBA funded office, we knew of all the SBA type of lending out there. And we did eventually get some kind of high price lending. But we took it. We thought, well, okay, this is our chance. We got our funding. We built our building. I put in my resignation at Northeastern State University, which, by the way, guys, this really hit me when I got here today. I have been 4 things at this university. I have been where you guys are. I've been a bachelor's student or an MBA. I've been an employee for 13 years, which I loved working in the university atmosphere. And now I'm a guest speaker. So this is really kind of weird for me. I've seen a lot of people that I used to work with and stuff, and it's really kind of coming home, full circle. I just wanted to throw that in there. So anyway, we got the building finished. Got out there January of 2003. We got all the equipment moved in, and we were ready for business. And despite my experience, I felt like just by opening our doors, we were just going to be slammed, Gosh, there was so many times during that year that I thought we were going to go under. The company that we contracted with, the big 6-figure deal, well, it was. But what they did while they were preparing for us to manufacture their product, they put back, probably a good 6 months worth of product, So when we opened in January, we bought their equipment from them. We moved it all over. We had nothing to do because they had a warehouse full of product. So we got out there, or I did. My husband did keep his job, which he's still at today. He's about a 30-year journeyman lineman for Lake Region Electric. He loves it. But I got out there and I started calling. I started looking for customers. It was a long, tough road. We did not have any budget for payroll for our first 6 months. I did have some really good friends that were dependable, and if we got an order in, I would call them. They would come in, we would make it, and then they would go back to their life, and I would go back to trying to get my business out there. But that time was well spent. I did not just sit around bemoaning the fact that I had no business or that we were having to make payments for the business out of our own pocket still. We got out there and we found some customers. One of our biggest customers came from another company, an Oklahoma City-based company that was a contract packager. He had called me. He said, Danielle, I hear you've built this big plant and I'm trying to sell my business. I would like to sell you my business. I told him no. We just leveraged, a pretty large loan for an 8,400 square foot plant and all the, equipment we need and inventory. And I couldn't do it. I would love to, but I couldn't do it. So, I flat turned them down. About an hour later, over my fax machine, I got his entire set of financial records, his entire customer base, everything that he thought would help sell me on this business, completely unsolicited. No signed agreement, no money down, no nothing. I was dumbfounded, for one thing. I mean, young as I was, I still would never have done that. But I thought, you know what, maybe this is a sign. So I started calling some of his customers. And what I found, caused me to decide that I would not invest in his business. All of his customers were jumping ship. It was a sinking ship. And I was a little late to the party. Apparently, he had already sent this information out to almost every co-packer in Oklahoma, and everybody was just consistently picking away at his customer base. So he was desperately trying to sell something that he no longer owned, basically. I mean, these customers, most of them had already jumped ship and found another co-packer. I called his biggest one, and I called him for 3 weeks. I left messages and I called him. And I had pretty much given up. One day I was on my lunch break and I was at home sitting on the couch watching all my children, which I still do today, and the phone rang. Here, 3 weeks later, the president of this company was calling me. So I choked down my bologna sandwich, he muted the TV, and very professionally answered, Backwoods Foods, this is Danielle, how may I help you? And he, very thick accent, said, Danielle, this is Juan Garriola with Tortilla King Incorporated, and you had called me. He said that he was jumping ship. He had been to several Oklahoma coat packers trying to get them to duplicate this recipe. He did not own the recipe for the salsa. They are a full-scale manufacturing plant in themselves, but what they manufacture is tortillas, tortilla chips. So they had no wet packaging. So this was a salsa that they marketed under their name, along with their other products, complementary to their products. He said, if you can duplicate this salsa, then we'd love to do business with you. And we've got, several other companies trying, but nobody has been able to do this. I said I'd try. I had never duplicated a recipe like that, gone without a recipe or a formula to follow. But I thought, I can try this. He overnighted me a box of samples, and I broke them down. I taught myself how to break down a recipe or backdoor into it using the nutritional facts, the ingredients list, the site, flavor, smell, everything of the product. And I duplicated that product for him. That is our biggest customer to this day, huge customer. We sell thousands of cases of salsa to them. So that was my first really big break. After that, I didn't stop. I got out there and for every no that I got, I probably got a maybe or a yes, and I worked hard to turn those people into customers. So now we've gone from 5 contract packaging customers and nothing to do to 42 contract packaging customers and more than we can handle. So it's a big business. We ship out a huge amount of product every day. How am I doing on time?
You're fine.
Good? Okay. But I had some points. If there was anything that you guys go away from today with. You know, these are the points that I'd like to make. Not all of you want to be an entrepreneur. You know, I didn't start out wanting to be an entrepreneur, but now that, you know, I've been bit by the bug, I think I'm completely unemployable outside of, you know, what I'm doing. But I'm happy doing it. Like I said, it was nothing that we had ever thought we would do in our lives. We went from trying to market a product out there part-time to manufacturing for other people and putting our product on the back shelf. We have restarted a few of our own product lines, mainly as fundraisers, which this will be our first year for the fundraisers. In fundraisers, what I'm talking about is little kiddos out there, you know, you get your niece or whomever calls you and says, I'm selling these for my school to get money for playground equipment or whatever, you know. But the fundraisers, I get the catalogs to the schools. They turn them over to the kiddos. They go out there and they sell. They get half of what they sell. That's a new thing for us. You guys will have to wish me well. If you guys get any of those catalogs this year, buy something. It's good stuff. But that was something I created to fill up some of the dead time. This market that we're in is full of peaks and valleys. Right now we're in a peak. We've got more business than we can handle. We're in the middle of peach season. That's where we've got 2 orchards that ship us their fresh peaches. We don't buy it from them, but what we do is we turn it into jam, jelly, peach salsa, peach barbecue sauce, pretty much whatever they want, peach butter. So that's a big thing for us. We've got state fair season, not where we're doing the state fair any longer, but where a lot of companies that we're packaging for is going to the state fair. And they put in huge orders to get them through the state fair season. So that's a peak. Come November, we're not going to have a lot to do. Now, we are still going to be out there full time. We are still going to be doing product, but it's not going to be as crazy and as hectic, and where our kitchen's not going to be booked 2 weeks out or 3 weeks out anymore. So I'm trying to fill in those valleys, and that's my fundraiser idea. That was one point that I wanted to put out there, is when the market that you're in is not, is not supporting you well enough, or during those slow times, create your own market. So I'm creating my own market, the fundraisers. That should hopefully fill up that slow time. Another way I've created a market is in the private labeling. Like I said, I've tried to put as much product. If a company, say Lavera's Grocery, comes to me with spaghetti sauce, you know, eventually we will have probably 15 of our products in their line as well. They can't get those products elsewhere. So that creates a lot of customer loyalty. It takes one good customer that's got a good record, pays their bills on time, things like that, boosts their sales, you know, for us. So create your own market. Be open to change in everything you do. Everything that I have done, now you can tell me, okay, Danielle, in 10 years you will be doing such and such. And I may just believe you because I have found that my life is not set in stone. I have listened to where my life and the market, etc., has taken me, and I have made those changes, hopefully gracefully, and gotten to where we are today. So be ready for change. Listen to and follow the directions that you're being pulled in, whether you're employed for somebody else. I started out for NSU. My first job with NSU was a secretary. And you know, I thought, I have got a bachelor's degree in business. This is just, you know, this is not it. This is not what I wanted to do. But it was one of the better jobs I've ever had, and I learned so much. And my business degree came in so well there. That, you know, eventually, you know, by the time I left 13 years later, I was a director of one of the centers. So, you know, everything happens for a reason. You know, take those jobs as they come to you. They're going to be hard to find. I've been lucky enough to get a recent NSU grad, and I'm hoping to keep them. and hoping that he will grow as our company grows. Be prepared for disappointment. If you decide to bite the bullet and go into business for yourself, be prepared for disappointment. Because it's there, but you just got to chug through it and know that every day is going to be better. Every day something new can happen. So just be prepared for it and just keep going. Never put all of your eggs into one basket like I did with that big 6-figure contract that almost put me out of business for the first 6 months. View every phone call, every conversation, every business relationship as an opportunity. That was one of the biggest things I learned. And when I kind of backed out of the kitchen and started running my business in the last year and a half or so, I started seeing these opportunities that were probably right in front of me all the time. I've had somebody that makes their own barbecue sauce call me and want to purchase glass from me. Well, if I'm not making a sauce, why would I want to sell him my glass? That's an inventory item. I'm not in the glass business. But I took that as an opportunity, and I called the glass company. I said, I've got a guy wanting to buy 7 pallets of glass from me. Can you give me a better deal? I'm not going to be able to sell him your glass unless I can sell it to him for what I'm buying it for from you right now. So you give me a good deal, I'll sell it to him for what I'm used to paying for it. And it worked. I'm now a distributor for glass. I don't sell a lot of glass, but it worked. I got some really good prices on our glass so that we can turn around and resell it. Same with tomatoes, things like that. Pretty much everything that I do, every sample that I get, if I get a sample of tomatoes, I call the tomato company I'm dealing with, and I say, listen, I can buy these for cheaper. What can you do for me to keep my business? A lot of times it works. A lot of times I switch. A lot of times it just goes away and I don't switch and I'm still paying the same price. It just depends, on how you work it. Be willing to work harder than you have ever worked in your life. I have never worked so hard in my life. Physically, mentally, everything. Every decision I make, everything. It takes its toll. You'll still find me out there in the warehouse if we're shorthanded, up at the top of a pallet throwing glass down to another employee. Nothing is off limits for me. I do what I need to do for our business to get by. But be willing to work for it and be willing to do so with no real immediate monetary reward. When I was with the Small Business Development Center, I had client after client come through. And they thought they were going to go into business for themselves and they were going to be able to immediately start taking home $5,000 a month in salary. It doesn't happen. First 18 months of this business, I did not draw a salary at all. So, you have to do what it can support. You cannot tap that business out for your own personal gain, or there will be no cash out in the end. Never discount the presence of competition. Competitors can be your friends, but always know that they are competitors. If you can develop strategic alliances with some of your competitors, I actually sell some of my competitors' inventory. And like I said, I make competitors' products, or that's what we started out doing. So look at where your competitors are, not only from the standpoint that if you're just starting out in that market, that's who you want to be. That's who you want to beat. So find out as much as you can about them. How do they advertise? Where do they advertise? What kind of a success are they? What do their customers say about them? Anything that you can do. If you become a force in the marketplace yourself, call your competitors. Say, hey, is there any way we can work together to get better prices on glass, things like this? Kind of build a buying consortium or something like that. That's something that I've been working on for a while, because you've got so many small contract packagers in Oklahoma. of which in the market you've got small contract packagers and you've got big contract packagers. Big ones being like Griffin's Foods and Clements Foods and that kind of thing. Small contractor packagers being like Backwoods Foods. We're the biggest fish in the small contract marketing pond. We're getting to be a little fish, though, in the big contract packaging pond. So that's been kind of a new development for us. We are actually getting so much business that we are getting referrals from some of our bigger competitors on small projects. Pretty soon they won't refer to us at all because we'll have the capacity that they will. So know your competitors. Do nothing without an exit strategy. I have my exit strategy. Do you? I know exactly where I want to be 15 years from now. I know where I hope to be 3 years from now. I know where I hope to be 5 years from now. I have a strategic plan in the making. It never goes away. It's always there. You're always doing schoolwork, it seems like. But I have a strategic plan in which we're trying to grow to our next level. Relocate. We're in, rural Cherokee County. Backwoods Foods is really a good name for it. We're wanting to relocate, closer to town, maybe in the industrial park, build some new lines, put out more product, bring in some of these big customers that right now we don't have the capacity to bring in. So I know what I'm going to do, and I know why I'm doing it. If you go into business, know from the start why you're doing it. What do you want? Do you want a nice little mom and pop that's going to provide you a nice little income for the rest of your life? That's fine if that's what you want. A lot of people out there are doing that. Do you want to cash out big, maybe do an IPO, by the end of it or whatever, and retire with a lot of money in your pocket? If that's what you want to do, work for that, but always know your exit strategy. Sorry, folded up my notes. Be willing to help those that are coming behind you. It's very important to put as much back out there in the community as you can. If any one of you came to me and said, can I have some advice? And I've had it done. I want to start my own business. Can I have some advice? As a businesswoman, what would you tell me? I will help you because I feel like enough people have helped me get to where I am today that I owe it back into the system. So be there for others and never lose sight or change who you are. I am still that same person sitting on the couch at lunchtime watching all my children as I was back in 2003 when I got that first big phone call. Family is more important to me than business, more important to me than money. Everything. If you don't lose sight of what's important to you and who is important to you, you will make it someday and you will be happy in doing it. That's all I have. I hope you guys got something out of this. I'm just glad to be here to share it with you.
Thank you, Danielle. At this time, I would like to ask Dr. Martin Tadlock, the Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs at Northeastern State University, to come forward and present you with the Lucite Diamond Battenfield-Carletti plaque, which recognizes you as having joined the elite ranks of a Battenfield-Carletti distinguished entrepreneur. Dr. Tadlock.
I'll just present this to you and get a picture taken.
All right.
So you can come over here. See if you're shaking something.
Thank you.
At this time, I would like to mention to the audience that beginning at 11 o'clock, there will be a question and answer session where it will be much less formal, and you will be able to ask any questions that you might have of Danielle Coursey, and that will occur right here in this room. Now, before you leave, we also have Provost Tadlock lined up to make a very, very important announcement about a recent development that I think you'll be very interested in. Provost Tadlock.
Danielle, stay up here. This
Oh,
is
okay.
part of you too.
Sorry.
Stay right here. Coming into the 10th year of the Battenfield-Carletti Lecture Series, we want to honor Dr. Battenfield and Dr. Carletti and recognize Ms. Coursey as an important alumni of this institution because they constantly give back to NSU, which turns around and enables us to give back to our students. Today have the privilege, and really didn't know we could do this until this morning, to announce the creation of the Northeastern State University Riverhawk Center for Creativity and Innovation. The Riverhawk Center for Creativity and Innovation is a student business incubator that will be housed in the College of Business and Technology. The incubator will provide students with startup funds and in helping them implement a small business. The goal is that students can start something while they're here at NSU that will stand on its own in the future, supported by a small grant from NSU and mentoring from College of Business and Technology faculty. Students will be able to submit a competitive proposal for up to $5,000 in funds for a business startup. We will furnish a student with a laptop computer, shared office space, a printer, and basic furnishings, which might include something like a file drawer to put your stuff in. We're not a rich institution, but we're able to provide at least the essentials. The College of Business and Technology faculty will be able to provide informal mentoring for those who submit the proposal and those proposals are accepted. And the funds can be used for travel, supplies, materials, software, and equipment directly related to the project, but not for salaries or benefits. And those who are accepted and carry out the proposal and that project throughout the course of the year will be expected to do a presentation to the Northeastern State University Cabinet and other interested people before the end of April of the academic year, and it'll be a 15-minute presentation on what happened and occurred in the implementation of the proposal. Dr. O'Feely and Dean Schleed and I will meet next week to finalize the details to implement the incubator, and we hope that the incubator will be operational by the end of September so that we can start accepting proposals from students at that time. I want to emphasize there's a very strong commitment on this campus for creativity and innovation. Absolutely. We're a sleeping giant sitting over here in eastern Oklahoma. We don't want to be a sleeping giant or a best-kept secret any longer. We want to make sure that we provide opportunities for students here that students typically get at much larger institutions that have a lot more funds and resources that we do. But we can do things in a small way, and we can do great things in a small way. And this is one of those opportunities for us to start. There's not a lot of money in the pool, but I think we can at least handle 5 proposals for business startups this year and hopefully expand that over the coming years. So I'm very pleased to be able to make that announcement, respecting you and your presence and you being an alumni, respecting the contributions that are made for this lecture series. So thank you very much, and we'll go from here.
You done with me now?
You've been a wonderful audience this morning. As you exit today through the pre-function area, Danielle has very graciously donated a bottle of salsa for each person who is in this room. So you will be able to pick up a bottle of her product on the way out. I would also be remiss if we did not take just a moment to recognize Danielle's father and mother who are here in the audience today. If you would stand, please.